Greetings, everybody! Look who's back. It's me. I know it's been a while, but hey, I'm back, and I got a nice StamDK build for you. So if you've watched me stream in the past couple of weeks, you might have seen this live. But yeah, we're doing the video now because I really love this build. It's one of the best StamDK builds that I've ever played. It's not meta, but kind of meta, but also not really. And, you know, you'll see why in a second. Let's just go over the stats real quick. As you can see, 32k stamina, we got almost 29k health and 16k magicka, so that is a decent amount of stats all around. Really nice. The stam recovery, not too high with 12k. Of course, this goes up if we, use a pod, for example. But the thing is, we don't really need the stam recovery. We could potentially drop this down to like 600 and we'd still be fine because we have other means of sustaining on this build, and I'll show you what that means and how we do that in a second. If we look at the weapon damage, this is sitting at almost 3,300. If we buff up here, we get to 4.2k. This goes up to like 5.2k fully buffed. That means with the enchant on the back bar, with the continuous attack buff. So we're definitely going over the 5k on this build, which is a decent amount. It's not super crazy, but hey, I mean, it's enough damage. Then of course, looking at the resists here, if we buff up with the resists here, you can see 26.5k spell and 22.9k physical resistance. We're wearing Bloodspawn, so this goes up by over 6k when the Bloodspawn procs, which puts us at, hard cap spell resistance and, a little under hard cap physical resistance, but this build is pretty tanky. I mean, we got the 3k physical resistance here, which is really nice. It helps a lot. We got the sword and board, of course. We can block a little if we want to. So there's some tankiness in here, not too crazy though, because that's not the main focus of the build. But yeah, you are tanky enough on this build, I would say. The physical penetration, of course, 6k right now. This goes up by 5k when we use the noxious breath, of course. So it's almost 12k with the buff, which I think is plenty. It doesn't always have to be 20k, Let's scroll down to the effects. We are, of course, a vampire. I would highly recommend being a vampire. You want the extra tankiness on low health. You also want the, the extra regens, even though we don't really need it that much on this build. I think it's a welcome addition. If you really don't want to be a vampire, you can drop it, but I would recommend being a vampire. We're, of course, using the warrior for some extra weapon damage. You can go for penetration if you want. You could even go for like the Shadow Mundus if you want the crit damage. But our crit chance is not too terribly high, and I think the warrior is ultimately the best choice here because it also, since it affects your weapon damage, it also goes into your healing, whereas penetration or the crit damage will not affect your healing. So I think this is the way to go, but if you feel like running something else, I'll allow it. We're running the Dubious on this one. If you want to run something else, you could do that. If you want to drop the Vampirism and you want to go, for like Werewolf or nothing, you can potentially put this, pull this into more of like a health regen kind of deal. Then you would probably use one of the health regen foods. I don't really want to do that. So yeah, the Dubious is fine. Dubious is also pretty cheap, so it doesn't break the bank. So yeah, that's the stat sheet for now. Let's just take a look at the sets, and then you'll see something really, really cool. And the cool thing is this set here. I've never heard anybody really talk about this set. I started using it a couple weeks ago, and I fucking love it. I will do a couple different builds on different classes, different playstyles with this set on, It is so nice. If you look at it, you could kind of think, oh, okay, like the 2, 3, and 4 piece bonus, they're not too great. I mean, it's not bad. You get all the stats, so yeah, whatever. The 5 piece, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but it is. So what this set does is when you do non-heavy attacks against your opponent, which is, you know, like everything that's direct damage, like light attacks, like instant damage abilities, even your ultimate would do that. It gives you like 1 stack of this essential duty. Stacks up to 10 times. You can get 1 stack every second, so it takes you 10 seconds to fully build it up. But you don't have to fully build it up. You can just, like, whenever you feel like you need to sustain, you can do a heavy attack, and you get the resources that you always get from a heavy attack, plus this. And on this build, I get like 10k stamina or something. I think it's 10k stamina on a like fully beefed up heavy attack with this set, and 6.5k magicka. So that's really nice. So not only does it give you a nice amount of stamina sustain, it also gives you a nice amount of magicka sustain, which is, especially on a DK, really nice because you have a lot of magicka buffs that you have to cast, and they're pretty expensive, not gonna lie. DK skills in general are pretty expensive, especially if you're wearing heavy armor, which this is a heavy armor build, so you got the increased cost. So it really helps having the extra stamina and magicka sustain on this build. And, you know, like I said, if you look at this tooltip, it might not seem like a big deal, but if you play it and you get these big resource returns, it is so beautiful. If you want to try this set, I can only encourage you to go and buy it. It's an open, like an overworld, overland set. So you can just buy it. It's really cheap. And if you look at this, like my master merchant says, 950 for this 1 piece. I don't know. You can get them for a couple hundred gold. It's really cheap. So if you want to try it, just get it. It doesn't cost you very much. Try it out. See if it works for you. But I love this set. So this is the sustain portion, of course. The next set is the New Moon Acolyte. Of course, that's why I said it's kind of meta, but not really. Everybody loves the New Moon. There is the 5% cost increase, but that's not really a big deal, especially not on a build like this that has so much sustain if you play it right. And, you know, the other bonuses are just, you know, just everything in damage. It is so much, and it does a lot for this build because, you know, this is the only offensive set that we have. All the other sets are just, you know, sustain based, resistance based. So having this on really helps. And then, of course, for the monster set, we're using the Bloodspawn, which is really nice because it's such a good all-round set. People say StamDK needs the Bloodspawn. I don't think StamDK needs it, but if you don't have anything else that you want to put on or can put on, the Bloodspawn is definitely one of the best choices that you can make. Just because it gives you so much. It gives you the recovery, it gives you the resistances, and it gives you the ultimate gen. Just all around a nice package, especially on the DK, working super, super well. Let's talk about the traits. Like I said, this is a heavy build, so 5 heavy on the body on the Central Defender here. You can put it somewhere else, you know, if you want. You can play this as a medium build if you want. Then you have to put the Central Defender on the weapons and the jewelry. But I think as a heavy build, it makes more sense to me because you get extra resources back from heavy attacking in heavy. So that just synergizes well with this set. These are all impan. This is impan. This one is infused. Feel free to use like all impan. Feel free to use infused on the big pieces like I usually do. It doesn't matter, you know, whatever suits you best, do that, okay? I got the Tri-Stat enchants on the big pieces, and of course, just, you know, whatever. we got some health, some stamina, whatever suits you, whatever stats you're looking for. This build has a little more health on it than other builds that I play, which, you know, I think it makes sense for the tankiness. Like I said, we're not like super tanky, but you know, the resistances are pretty good. We got the sword and board on. We got some extra health, which is really nice, and that all around makes us pretty tanky. Of course, robust jewelry, that's what I prefer. You can do infused weapon damage. I personally don't like that. It doesn't give enough of a benefit to justify losing out on the stamina, because, you know, having a bigger stam pool also is a form of sustain. So I always prefer the robust jewelry, and of course, robust is way cheaper, you know. Usually, you know, because if you want to do the infused one, yeah, you got to buy the infused traits for it, or you have to transmute it if you want that. You know, it costs a little extra. I'll leave it up to you. You know, whatever you like. And of course, the weapon damage on the jewelry, the sword and board. I went with the Nernhond because I like my damage. Just beef up the damage a little more. Whatever enchant you put on is up to you. I went with the disease one. I thought it's not bad, you know, just debuffing the opponent. You can go with shock if you want, get the minor vulnerability of it, but you know, whatever suits you. Of course, Tristat on the shield, which is infused. You can also put like impen on if you really want more impen, but I think 3k is more than enough, to be honest. And then of course the bow infused with the weapon damage enchant on. That's what we always do, because it's just free damage. You put the weapon damage enchant on, you have it infused. It is just free damage. It's almost 500 weapon damage that you just get from heavy attacking, light attacking, or just using your poison injection, which is really good. You know, you don't want to miss out on that damage. So yeah, these are the sets. Ooh, Volendrung seeks a wielder. Sorry, Volendrung, I'm doing a build video right now. So yeah, that's the build, basically. Really nice setup. Trust me, give this a shot. Just try it. It's a nice set, and it works on so many different builds, really. So many different playstyles. All you have to do is get a heavy attack off every 10 seconds, and you'll never run out of stamina or magicka. I promise you. Okay, let's move on to the skills. On the sword and board bar, we're using the reverberating bash. You can use the other morph if you want. I personally prefer the stun a little more. I do have the invasion, which also stuns, but I think up close, when you're fighting people, the reverberating bash is a little less telegraphed, and the stun is just different, and it really messes people up, in my opinion. So I think it's a really nice and trolly stun, so that's why I went with this one. Then of course the Noxious Breath does some upfront damage, does some damage over time. It's an armor debuff, so yeah, it's pretty cheap and it hits multiple people, so you definitely want that. Then of course for some spammage, if you want to DPS people down, you go with the Deep Slash here. Just overall good skill, decent damage. It snares, it debuffs, it gives the minor maim. You know, it's just, and it's AoE. It hits multiple people. So if you alternate between these, you know, you're debuffing people, you're putting the dot on them, and then you do the Deep Slash. It's really nice. I like that. Of course, like I said, we are running the invasion. You want a gap closer. You know, you're not the fastest guy in this build. You're in heavy armor, so a gap closer is definitely welcome. I think it's pretty good to have one. So yeah, invasion. And the next skill is Flames of Oblivion. Now we get Major Prophecy and Major Savagery from this. We don't need the Prophecy, but we need the Savagery. You could potentially put Camo Hunter on if you want, but I went with this because, you know, it's nice to have the extra fireball. You know, you can You can spam this, it's pretty cheap. It's not gonna hit super hard, but it kind of helps. You know, it kind of helps having the extra damage. And of course, the fireball stays up for 15 seconds and hits people every 5 seconds automatically. So yeah, little extra damage. Can't complain about that. And the ultimate is, of course, Take Flight. This is the bread and butter ultimate of every DK. It functions as a gap closer. You know, you can cover great distances with this one. You can jump off walls into a Zerg, which is always fun to do, in my opinion. It hits decently hard, it knocks people back, and yeah, it's just an awesome ultimate. And it's pretty cheap, you know, you can't complain about that. And on the bow bar, we're running Resolving Vigor. This is our main heal, our only heal actually. Some people might not be comfortable running only one heal, but honestly, I think it's okay. We're pretty tanky on the build, and you got the fragmented shield as well, so you get the major mending, so you get 25% extra healing out of your vigor, which is, you know, it's really good. Trust me, you know, vigor heals for a lot. So like I said, fragmented shield for, you know, basically the major mending, not much else. Yeah, so that's basically just a buff to beef up your healing. And, you know, spamming this also gives you a little bit of stamina back, so yeah, that's not bad either. Then we got the poison injection. Of course, you know, you just put it on, you let it tick, and, you know, it's kind of, it has like an execute mechanic. It hits harder when the enemy drops in health, so it starts ticking harder, but also the initial hit also hits harder now, which is nice. One thing I gotta say is, I don't know if it's a bug or not, but the poison tick of poison injection actually procs this set, which should not happen because it says direct damage, and the poison dot should not be direct damage, but it procs the set. So keep that in mind. Put the poison injection on, let it tick, and get the stacks from this set. Really nice, you know? Little extra, you know? You can't complain about that. Then, of course, the next one is Volatile Armor. This is our armor buff. It also, you know, it deals some damage around you, puts a magic dot on people. It's not that strong because we're not a Magicka build, so, you know, it's not that good in terms of damage, but it's an extra dot you can put on people, which I like, because you do this, you go over, you do this, and then you got 3 dots on people. That's really good. You know, it can whittle them down. It really helps. And of course, it's a good tool for, like, detecting Nightblades. When a Nightblade cloaks up around you, you just put that out. It has a 10-meter radius, which is pretty big, you know. It's bigger than most AoEs, and you can just pull them out. It's not that expensive, so you can cast it quite a lot. And yeah, Volatile Armor. And Molten Armaments, of course, is our weapon damage buff, and it buffs our heavy attacks by 50%, which kind of synergizes, you know, because we're doing a lot of heavy attacks for the sustain. So it doesn't hurt when they, you know, hit a little harder, you know. You can't, like I said, you can't complain about that. And of course, the ultimate on the back bar, Corrosive Armor. Either if you want to do more damage, you know, if you want to go offensive and you just want to ignore all the armor, you can do that. Or if you're expecting to take a lot of damage or already taken a lot of damage, you can pop this and become really tanky. Like when you have to go through a breach and the breach is heavily defended. You can pop this, you can pop a Vigor, and then you just roll and run. And, you know, you most likely will not die unless you really get hit by like 100 attacks. But yeah, really good ultimate. It's not that expensive, only like 200 ultimate, a little more now because we're wearing the New Moon Acolyte. But overall, really good ultimate. And it does the poison damage tick on people near you, so that's also not bad. So yeah, that's the skills, ladies and gentlemen. Let's actually move on to the champion points now. So, in the red tree, as always, 51 Ironclad, 77 Resistant, 43 in Hardy and Elemental Defender, 56 in Quick Recovery. In the green tree, we're putting 37 into Warlord, 19 Sprinter, 56 in Mooncav, 22 Arcanist, 43 in Tenacity, because, you know, heavy attacks restore resources, so we want some extra resources, you know? There's some synergy again. And 56 in Tumbling, 37 Shadow Ward. Why did I do this? Because we already have the cheaper blocking from Sword and Board, so only 15% on top of that, and the rest into dodge rolling, because dodge rolling is also really nice. This is not a perma-block build. You're not supposed to block a whole lot. Can, if you have to, but, you know, you want to use all your defenses. You want to heal, you want to dodge, you want to block. Okay? So that's why the extra in Tumbling, use it. Dodge and block. Don't just do one of the things. Combine them. In the blue tree, of course, 81 Mastered Arms. We want the beefy burst damage on the build, you know? Makes your leap hit hard, makes your initial hit from your Noxious Breath and your Deep Slash hit hard. So yeah, why won't you do that? Then of course, 56 in Mighty, 77 Piercing, and 56 in Precise Strikes. So that's the typical layout that we always go for. In most cases, that's the way to do it. So yeah, that's the build, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you really like this build. I hope you give the Central Defender set a shot. It's really nice. Put it on, try it out. Like I said, it's very versatile. You can use it on any kind of build that you want. And yeah, just check it out. Really nice StamDK build. I had a lot of fun playing this. So yeah, I'm gonna leave you with a couple PvP clips so you can see this build in action. Please, please remember to subscribe and like and comment. You know, if you have questions or if you want to say something, just put it down in the comment box. And I'll be back with another build soon. So yeah, take it easy, everybody. See you next time. I mean, I did it too. I think nobody reported me. I think nobody reported me for doing it, but... Dude, don't you just hate these fucking... Don't you just hate these fucking necro fights? They're the worst. Change my mind. They're the worst. And this guy is not even that tanky, and it's still enough to be just a total fuckfest. Are you going for a fucking harmony, dude? Guy's going for a harmony. Dude. Dude, fighting Necros is the worst. It's such a one-trick pony. He's trying to get me with the fucking Harmony cast here. He wants to get the Harmony. Because why not? Here comes the Big Daddy. Tries to do the Harmony Big Daddy combo. So shit. It kind of looks like lava. Oh, hello. Confident leaps, baby. If you do the leap, you gotta do it with confidence. That is a confident leap, my friends! Which is kind of sad, because it's been a pretty lackluster skill for many years now. And the Blazing Shield tank was one of the more interesting tank setups. Because it could be very strong defensively, but also offer a decent amount of offense, you know? If you don't pay attention and you just unload on a guy like that and that shield explodes, it could rip you. It could really rip you. Especially if you combine it with like other things. If you combine it with other things, like proxy dat or your ultimate or whatever, you know, could be really interesting. I mean, you could potentially run like Onslaught or something. And maybe that's what he did. Maybe that's why he used the Onslaught to kind of combat that low penetration value that he has. Oh, hello. When's the last time you played a successful Blaze Popus? Like a really like a satisfying one. When's the last time you did that? Probably never. Not even back in the day when it actually worked. Let's pelt him a little bit. Let's give him a little bit of a beating. Just a little bit. Yeah, dude, you gotta leave. You gotta leave, my friend. I need to get a heavy attack off here. Come on. There you go. That was a good fight. Nice little 2vx here. Who's this? Captain Barbossa? Good fight.